Became across a lot of challenges. There was times I felt like giving up.
Yeah.
And even 6 weeks before we opened the doors, I thought, is this going to work? I find a challenge in my own brain, and all. I've got a lot of self-doubt in myself and stuff, and it's challenging when you've had that kind of past I've had, and you're in the process of change. And I've been a long time in that process, and you've still got that self-doubt.
If it was just purely medication that got people well from substance addiction, then everybody would be cured. It's the underlying conditions that most of us have had. Once you start to, chip away at it, you'll find that lots and lots of people have been traumatized in some form or another. And that's intergenerational as well. That has an impact on everyone. The stigma is really deep around substance use, and you feel it as someone who has been addicted, and even though I've worked in it a long time, there's still that element. And so people standing up and saying, listen, I was an addict or I am an addict, is really hard. It's hard to do that. But also, some of your neighbours knew you when you were that crazy, in that crazy time, and they've maybe had bad experiences of you. So to understand that you might have changed is hard for them to believe. So all that kind of stuff has an impact. That can be really challenging.
We opened a Facebook page, and people from the community were phoning up and saying that people that are involved in that are still involved in crime and all that, and they shut us down. Just people that have got hatred for people's past. When nobody's involved in that, and it got shut down, the wee Facebook page, and it was doing thriving, the Facebook page. People were contacting us for help through it.
A lot of us got into trouble when we were using. So a lot of us have got a criminal record of one sort or another. And so getting things started up, getting bank accounts, because all this takes money, all this takes resources. We couldn't rent this place without a bank account, and we couldn't then get electricity put on and did it. So everything like that, every wee step that you would think, oh, you'll just open this premises or something. No, you couldn't. And things like insurance, things like getting
health and safety, fire stuff like that.
Everything takes much more time when you have to go through other bodies who've got their own policies and practices. And what happens in recovery as well, especially in early recovery for people, lapse and relapse is very common. And so you start off with 10, 12, 15 people who are involved. A lot of people, once they start to get well, they go into education, they go into employment, they go into, because their lives have suddenly opened up. And so you lose that with the best will in the world. So you need more volunteers, because volunteers aren't a cheap option. They need trained, they need supported, they need to be, they need to know what they're supposed to be doing. And working with some of the most damaged people in society is not easy.
It's been a team effort, a community effort, and not just for people in addiction, just people that have seen what we were doing and recognised the need for it. And we couldn't have done it without everybody in the community.
And you forget that that's the parts, not necessarily the groups that are running, organised group. It's all the bits that happen in between where people help each other, Big Chrissy making the soup and, all that kind of stuff. It's like, that's what knits the community together. That's what will give you memories going forward. That's where you get the informal support. Is when you're standing talking, making teas for people or coffees or whatever, and you're talking about what's happening in your family, or you're talking about, how you're challenged with your recovery at the moment. Your head's maybe on a mission to destroy you at that point. And just talking, getting that out of your head to somebody that understands, it decreases the power of it in your head to do the damage. And so it's these elements, it's these moments, it's feeling useful. I can make a potty soup, or everybody's got talents, everybody's got stuff that they can do. And so it's for us to help find and try and incorporate that in what we're doing. And it works a lot of the time.
So if you had to give one piece of advice to someone who was just had the idea to set up a kind of community project or social action project, what would it be?
Dinna give up.
That's exactly what I was
Dinna
thinking.
give up.
You've
Dig
read
in.
my brain.
Dig in and dinna give up.
Aye.